$2,400 fourth stimulus check. This makes sense, and I want to explain all the details right here in the video. Let's get into it and discuss what's going on. All right, now this is a question that I continue to get on a very regular basis, including, will there be a fourth stimulus check? Who will be included for a fourth stimulus check? And possibly most importantly, how much will a fourth stimulus check be? Well, that's what I want to talk about here in this video, because there's an interesting phenomenon that is happening, and that's what I want to point out for you in this video in regards to how much a potential fourth stimulus check could actually be. So let's get right into it. However, really fast before we do, thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here or if you haven't done so yet, please make sure to subscribe by hitting the button right down below the video, as it's totally free to do so. And because I am your one and only daily advocate, I'm here for you right by your side every single day, watching all this new information hitting the wire, doing the necessary research, and breaking it all down into these short videos so you can stay updated with what's actually going on, and most importantly, how it's going to impact you, your money, your benefits, your lifestyle, your bank account, and of course, anything popping up right now you can possibly grab and take advantage of. So again, thanks so much for joining me. Please make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, and also remember, I'm here for you in any way that I can be. That's my dedication, that's my commitment, and as always, that is my promise to you and everybody right here in the community. All right, thanks again. Make sure to subscribe down below, and let's get into it and talk about this interesting phenomenon that may be giving an indication into how much stimulus check number 4 could be in the event that there actually is a fourth stimulus check. All right, so in this video, I do want to take a little trip down memory lane for just a minute here to talk about some of the things that have happened that'll give us a better perspective on what's actually going on here and how much another check really could be, because let's be real right now. Who needs another $600 check like the second one we got in the end of 2020? Well, let's be real. I think we would all be happy to take it, but is that really what we need? No, we need a lot more than that, right? Would we all be happy to get $1,200 like what we got in early 2020? Again, we would gladly take it, but is that what we need right now? Well, we probably need a lot more than that, right? Well, I want to break down all the details about this because there's some interesting things that are happening, and again, I feel like this is, worthy of pointing out, because why not? And it's actually pointing to a very interesting trend. All right, so with that being said, stick with me here for just a minute, because you're going to see the case that I'm going to lay out here in just a second. Now, again, I can't say for sure. I don't have a clue if this is what's really going to happen or not, but I'm just simply saying there's an interesting phenomenon, and again, it's pointing to a very, very interesting trend. All right, so let's rewind all the way back to 2000 and 2001, the year of 2000, 2001. So like, 22, 23 years ago, a long time ago. Well, what happened during that time? The dot-com bubble was bursting, right? Do you remember what happened there? The stock market went way down, a huge, huge fall in the stock market. A lot of things were collapsing at that time. Well, including the economy. Well, what happened then? We fell into a deep recession. Well, guess what happened then? During that time, again, about 22, 23 years or so ago, they issued stimulus checks. How much were they? They were $300. Well, here's what's interesting about it. $300 today, we'd probably laugh at that, and honestly, we'd probably be a little bit insulted these days. However, 22, 23 years ago, $300 had way more value back then than it does today. $300 back then was probably equivalent to about $1,000 or more at that time. Today, $300 is like, honestly, you can't really get anything for $300 anymore. I mean, obviously you can get a little bit, but $300 today would get us virtually nothing. You know what I mean? Because of all the inflation and because of the depletion of purchasing power of the United States dollar. Again, because of inflation, you can't get a whole lot for $300. But back in the day, about 22 years or so ago, during that recession, 2000, 2001, they issued stimulus checks in the amount of $300. Okay, keep that number in mind. Now, let's fast forward about 7 or so years, 7, 8 years or so, all the way out until the great financial crisis that happened in 2008 and 2009. What happened then? Well, the housing market was going bust, a bunch of different things were happening, and yet again, the economy was falling into a deep recession. In fact, that was a pretty bad one at the time, right? The unemployment rate was rising very rapidly, things were happening, the economy was falling off a cliff, and guess what happened? They issued stimulus checks. Yet again, believe it or not, they issued stimulus checks one more time. However, how much were the checks during that time? They were $600. So remember, about 7 or 8 years prior, in 2000, 2001, they sent out stimulus checks in the amount of $300. Well, only 7 years later, in 2008, 2009, during that recession, they issued stimulus checks in the amount of $600. So just in that short amount of time later, they issued stimulus checks that were double $600. Remember, $300, now $600 in 2008, 2009 as a result of that recession as well. Which other quick side note I want to point out as well, in early 2009, they also sent out dedicated stimulus checks for just Social Security beneficiaries, or fixed income beneficiaries, I should say, which, yes, did include Social Security retirement, disability, SSDI, survivors, SSI, VA, and RRB beneficiaries. So fixed income beneficiaries also got a $250 check in May of 2009. So that was another extra kind of bonus payment right there. So they do actually sometimes send out dedicated stimulus checks just to fixed income beneficiaries. So keep this number in mind as well, $600. So 2001, call it $300. 2008, $600. Okay, now let's fast forward all the way out until the year of 2020. What happened then? Well, COVID arrived and all of a sudden things were closing down. The unemployment rate was going through the roof. The economy was basically shut down. We were falling into a deep, dark recession at that time yet again. Even though they came forward, as in Congress, they stepped up, they printed trillions of dollars, and yet again, they sent out stimulus checks. How much? $1,200. Do you see a little bit of a trend here? $300, $600, $1,200. They're doubling every single time. See an interesting trend? Yeah, right. So, kind of an interesting thing that I wanted to point out. Now, yet again, I want to throw this out there as well. Every single recession that we've seen, which, by the way, over the last, say, 22 or so years, from the year of 2000 all the way until present right now, we've experienced 3 recessions, okay? We've experienced 3 recessions. All of them have produced stimulus checks, and they've all doubled in size every single time. $300, $600, $1,200. Okay, so what does that mean for the next recession? Now again, depends on who you ask, but we may have dipped into a recession sometime in kind of mid-ish 2022. Now again, there were a couple consecutive quarters back-to-back that had negative GDP. In other words, basically the textbook example or the textbook definition of a recession is 2 back-to-back quarters of negative GDP. That's exactly what we had in the United States in mid-2022. So during that time, we could have said, well, we were in a technical recession. Yeah. Now here's the thing. There's a bunch of big banks, a lot of, large CEOs, very highly influential people that are also coming out suggesting, okay, 2022 was just warm up. 2023, this is when the wrecking ball is a-coming, okay? Now again, we don't really know what's going to happen in the future here, but we can say this much. There's a lot of people that are suggesting 2023 is going to be the year of reckoning, where all of this that we've been dealing with for the last couple of years here, massive inflation, supply chain issues, basically the depletion of the purchasing power of the United States dollar. We've been seeing the stock market being pumped up and inflated. We've been seeing all these things happening. The housing market going like crazy for a couple of years there. They're saying 2023 is going to be the year that all this is going to bust. The house of cards is going to come crumbling down in 2023. Now again, I'm not here to say, this is going to happen for sure. I don't really know what's going to happen. All I'm going to say is this much. I'm going to continue watching everything every single day, as I always do, and continue to report back to you in these short videos each and every day to point all this out. However, they're suggesting 2023 is going to be the year of a massive, deep recession. Now, again, let me point this out. Is this going to be a bad thing? Well, I'm not going to take sides with that. I'm not going to say it's a good thing or a bad thing. It just is what it is, okay? A recession is what it is. But I want to point this out as well. Like I said a minute ago, all the recessions over the last, call it 22 years, have all produced stimulus checks. So if we fall into another deep, dark recession where the unemployment rate is rising, which we've already been seeing the unemployment rate rising because we've seen the Federal Reserve aggressively raising interest rates, and we've seen tons and tons of companies, small businesses, medium businesses, large corporations laying off hundreds or even thousands upon thousands of people. Well, what are those people doing? Are they going out and getting another replacement job right away? Some are, but the vast majority, probably not. They're probably getting unemployment benefits as a result until they find the next thing, right? Well, that could take a little bit of time. Well, as a result of that, we're seeing a contraction in the economy, and we are seeing the unemployment rate rising. So again, we knew that this was coming. It's a slow thing. However, as I mentioned before in other videos, it's a slow process. It all takes time. But when this thing starts to unravel, sometimes it happens really, really fast, okay? And I just want to point that out. So Does the next recession come? Like when I say recession, I mean does the next big recession come in 2023? Well, that's still yet to be determined, but if it does, I can say this much. They're going to print a bunch of money. They're going to, pass through these massive packages just like they do every single time. They pass these huge hundreds of billions of dollar packages or multi-trillion dollar packages just like they do every single time in a recession. They print up money and they push it out to the people, to businesses. They boost up unemployment benefits. They do all kinds of different things because they need to bring the economy back. So this time is not going to be any different. But when it comes down to it, do you see the trend that I'm pointing out here in this video? Again, 2001 stimulus checks, $300. 2008 stimulus checks, $600. 2020 stimulus checks, $1,200. They double every single time. Could we potentially see a double this next time from $1,200 up to $2,400? We could. Again, why do they keep doubling stimulus checks? Is it because they are being, because they care about us and they want to give us more money? No, it's because the value of the dollar is becoming less and less. They need to give more money because they know, just as much as we do, that dollars are getting us less and less. A dollar back in 2020 or a dollar back in 2008 or a dollar back in 2000, the year of 2000, had way more significance the further that we go back in history. Let me give you another quick example. Think of a dollar when you were a kid. $1 when you were, say, 10 years old. I mean, that could have been 20 years ago. It could have been 40 years ago. It could have been 60 years ago. I mean, again, depends on your age, but just think about it. When you were 10 years old, how much value did $1 have? It had a lot more value then than it does today. $1 today gets you almost nothing. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Because as a result of this, they know that the purchasing power of the dollar just continues to deplete. That's why they didn't continue to give us more and more every single time that stimulus checks are issued, is because they know it takes more money to prop up the economy every single time because they continue to deplete the purchasing power of it. They keep diluting the dollar is basically what it comes down to, right? So anyway, kind of makes sense. Either way, the only thing we can do at this point is continue watching this. Only time will tell, as I say in so many videos. We just have to continue watching it. Either way, that is what I will continue doing for you. I will continue watching all the details on this. As I do get more details, of course, I'll bring it to you right here in these short videos. Anyway, a little interesting phenomenon I wanted to point out for you to let you know. Who knows? Maybe this next one could be that. And if it does happen to be something huge like that, maybe they make it more focused. Maybe they lower the income thresholds. Maybe they, bring it in a little bit, because the last time we got stimulus checks, it included 85% of the population. That's a lot of people. And maybe they say, maybe they lower the income threshold down to $50,000 or $40,000, something like that. So this money is going out to the highly focused individuals who actually need it, the low income and fixed income beneficiaries. I don't know, some interesting points here, a lot of different things that we can play around with, a lot of different points that we can digest here, but want to bring it to your attention here in this video. So again, hope this one helps you. Please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share the video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other thousands and thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, enjoy. Leave your comments, your questions, and your feedback down below. Until next time, have a good one, and I'll catch you again later in the next video.